Mm. Am I supposed to let persons in the waiting room, or do you guys usually do that? Because it's now 2, so 2 or 3. I don't know. You tell me what's happening. Eartha, you're talking, but I'm not hearing anything. Tiona? Wait, there's something wrong with my audio. Oh.
No, nothing is wrong with yours. I was on the back end.
Oh.
So, I was connecting it before persons come in.
Oh, okay. Understand.
You know. Shamir, you can let persons in now.
Plants have different parts that work together to help them grow. Plants have different parts that work together to help them grow. Plants have stems and leaves, flowers, fruits, and roots. They all work together to help the plant survive. They need stems and leaves, flowers, fruits, and roots. They need stems and leaves, flowers, fruits, and roots. Plants have different parts that work together to help them grow. Plants have different parts that work together to help them Plants have different parts that work together to help them grow. Plants have different parts that work together to help them grow. Plants have stems and leaves, flowers, fruits, and roots. They all work together to help the plant survive. They need stems and leaves, flowers, fruits, and roots. They need stems and leaves, flowers, fruits, and roots. Plants have different parts that work together to help them grow. Plants have different parts that work together to help them Plants have different parts that work together to help them grow. Plants have different parts that work together to help them grow. Plants have stems and leaves, flowers, fruits, and roots. They all work together to help the plant survive. They need stems and leaves, flowers, fruits, and roots. They need stems and leaves, flowers, fruits, and roots. Plants have different parts that work together to help them grow. Plants have different parts that work together to help them
Okay, thank you. All right, so welcome everyone to another series in our Biodiversity Awareness Program. Just want to warmly welcome everyone. I can see that persons are still joining, and so we had just started with our intro song just to give some persons a little more time to settle in our session. So it's good to have you all. And even before we do anything, just want to introduce myself. I am Eartha Cole, and I am the Education Outreach Officer here at the Natural History Museum of Jamaica. And you've joined another session under the Biodiversity Awareness Program, where we will be looking at gardening and me. All right. And we have a few sessions that we have done already, such as looking at water, the importance of water, the importance of caring our plants, composting. And today we'll be looking at another important topic, and that is our plants. But before we even talk about the plants, can anybody tell me what's so special about today? There's a very special day that we're celebrating today. Does anybody know? If you're able to, you can raise your hand and indicate, and we unmute you, or you can type it in the chat. So every year on April the 13th, we celebrate this day. All right. Want to tell me nobody knows? All right, so we have Calicia Hall. Welcome, Calicia. So Calicia, am I hearing properly? You said jeans? Could you repeat? All right, I think I heard she said Jeans Day. All right, so thanks for that response. However, it's not Jeans Day. Can anybody else tell me? All right. If not, I hope by the end. Okay, I see now. Kelisa says Jeans Day at my school today. All right. All right. Well, it's this day that we're celebrating. Everybody all over the world is celebrating it. So it's about plants. So today we're celebrating Plant Appreciation Day. And so we're going to learn all about the plants today. And so I just want everyone to just sit tight as we explore a little further in our fun zone section. And afterwards, we'll talk a little bit more about where you're joining from. All right, so I see Brown and Scarlet. All right, yes. So we're gonna go into our fun zone at this time.
Good day, everyone. My name is Tiona Thomas, and I'll be in charge of our Fun Zone segment. So for today's Fun Zone, you'll be given a picture for you to identify the hidden words, as it says, garden spot the hidden words. So you can respond by typing your answers in the chat, and we'll let you know if you're correct or not. So remember to type your answer in the chat if you identify the words in the garden that are hidden. All right, so the answers are about to show, but I want to know if anyone, all right. So I see the word apple. I see water. Thank you, Shamir. Camila says green. All right, so let's see if you guys are correct. So we have apple, green, water, and smoke. Let me show you where the smoke was. All right, so right at the top, at the chimney, you see the word smoke.
All right. Thank you so much for that fun activity, Tiona. I think we had a fun time. Didn't we have a fun time? If you had a fun time, let me see those hearts or those hands in the chat. Or if you have your emotion response at the bottom, you can click on it. All right. All right, nice. Okay. All right. Just want to do some roll call. I see some persons already placing in the chats where they're from, and we just want to welcome you. So we have Moore's Primary and Infants. We have quite a few persons there from Moore's Primary. Is there any other school that I need to mention? I'm seeing Moore's in the chat. All right, I also see that Deshaun says that it's Jean's Day at school today. All right, so it's some fun time today. All right, I see a hand, Shamaria Ellis, your hand is up. Would you like to say where you're from? All right, you can unmute. All right, I also see Roswell Primary, Najer someone from Roswell. So welcome. All right, and if you have not yet put your school's name in the chat, feel free to do so, and we'll give you a shout. All right. There. All right. All right, so at this time, we are going to go into another segment of our presentation where we'll be hearing from someone who studied plants. And our own director, Mrs. Tracy Comic, studied as a botanist, right? And she'll be sharing just about her inspiration of why she chose to be a botanist, right? And that is someone who studies plants. So I just want to invite her now to come and share with us at this time.
Afternoon, and thank you for the warm welcome, Eartha. Can people hear me? Students, are you hearing? Thumbs up if you are. I'm having a little bit of difficulty at home.
I'm hearing you, Miss.
You hearing me? Okay, good. All right, so good afternoon and happy special day for plants today. All right. Plants, what's the special day again? Today is called Are you hearing me okay?
Wednesday.
Hello? All right, so I'm going to speak and hope that everybody is hearing me. All right, so my name is Tracy Comic, and as Miss Cole said, I studied plants long time ago. And when she asked me this question, I said, let me really see what inspired me to pursue a career in botany. So there are a number of things. When I was growing up, I was in a community in Jamaica that had loads of plants and animals around me, but more so plants. We had bananas and plantains and oranges and sweet potato. And a number of relatives in my family were farmers, and I could see how they could, how they really served the family and the community by providing plants. Moving on, I went to high school and pursued biology. And I really liked biology and I really liked chemistry. And then I moved on to university and did botany, zoology, chemistry, math. But towards the end of my years at university, I did more botanical courses. So more botany was coming in. And it's funny, when you start school, and that's what I'm going to say to the youngsters, sometimes when you start out learning something, you might have something in mind that you want to do something in particular. And then just by what you're good at, you end up taking another career. So for me, I started out really loving chemistry, and then chemistry didn't love me that much. And really loving math, and math didn't love me back. So I stuck to botany. And there were several people who said, why are you doing such a boring course? Where are you going to get a job? And luckily, I ended up at the Institute of Jamaica. This is the only job I've ever done, but working in botany, and it's fascinating. We don't just sit at a desk all the time. We're out in the field looking for other plants. We're visiting other museums and seeing how they handle plants. We're seeing how plants have served us in many ways. And you'll hear that today, just how important plants are. So those are some of the things that inspired me to pursue a course in botany and pursue a career in botany.
All right.
Right. I would love, you can hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, should I continue or my time is up?
Come on, continue.
I was just encouraging the children and other persons listening that plants are very important, all parts of plants, and plants, when you get into it, I'm sure the person presenting today will tell you how every aspect of your life, even when you got up this morning, how plants. After this session, that you'll have more of an appreciation for plants, that you see how you can even probably adopt a plant or raise a plant and just, make a contribution to the environment and just to please yourself, so plants have that kind of value as well. All right. So yes, Eartha, I think that's it. I don't know if there are any questions.
Yes, some very valuable points that you have mentioned in terms of, the practical part of persons adopting a plant, raising a plant, putting a seed into the ground. And, you have inspired me as well to think a little more about the whole value of plants. And I trust our students here as well. Thank you for sharing. I would like to extend a warm welcome to more persons who are joining with us at this time. We have persons joining, not necessarily attached to a school per se. We just want to welcome you as well, the general public. We want to welcome, we have our PR director here as well. Welcome. And a few of our NHMJ staff as well. Welcome. All right. And if there's anyone else who would like a shout out, or you have a school or a community, just put it in the chat and we'll give a shout out. We also want to welcome our YouTubers. Of course, we can't leave you out. So if you're joining on YouTube, welcome. And if you have any questions right throughout the presentation, you can share it in the chat, and at some point we will look at it. All right, so at this time, we are going to go straight into our main presentation. And today we'll be looking at what is a plant? And we'll be looking at its description and its importance. Now remember, today is World Appreciation, Plant Appreciation Week, sorry. So it's World Plant Appreciation Day. So it's the day that we express our love for plants. All right. So I'm going to invite, okay, I see White Marl, Clarendon. So big up White Marl, feel welcome. Glad that you could join us this evening. All right. So at this time, we are going to invite Miss Tuna Thomas once again. She is our museum program officer, and she will be sharing a little bit more about the importance of plants today. And hopefully at the end of this session, if you have any questions, share them. We will do our best to answer. We also have a team of botanists online who you can also interact with and ask further questions. And so I want everyone to, pay keen attention. We'll also be doing a mini quiz at the end. So we are hoping everyone will enjoy. So, Ms. Thomas.
All right. Hello again, once more, everyone. I just also want to say happy International or World Plant Day. And the theme for this year is spread the joy of green. And I am here today to spread that joy as we will learn about plants. All right, everyone can see the screen clearly?
Yes, Miss.
Okay, wonderful. So for today's
Yes, Miss.
thank you guys. All right, so apart from talking about plants, what about plants will we be looking at today? What we will be looking at is the description of a plant and the importance of plants, right? So we're spreading all the joy that plants provide onto us. Now, do we actually know what are plants? I mean, we see them daily, yes, and some of them are beautiful, some bloom and some don't, and some we get fruits from and some we eat as vegetables. But what are plants exactly? So our learning outcomes for today are what are plants, parts of a plant and their function, and the importance of plants. Now, what are plants? So first, plants are living things, right? That grow on land or in water. So we may walk past them daily and we're not seeing them moving like how we move, but they are living things. Secondly, they are primary producers, meaning that they make their own food, right? They're not dependent on another source for food, like how we would depend on plants for food or even animals, right? So they're primary producers and they use light that is absorbed from the sun along with absorbing carbon dioxide to create food in a process that is called photosynthesis. Now, plants can be broken out into two groups. They can be either flowering plants or non-flowering plants. All right, so with flowering plants, right, they produce flowers and use seeds to reproduce, and they are the main type of plants. So for example, your sunflower, your orchids, your fruit trees, right, and even some vegetables. While for non-flowering plants, right, they do not produce flowers as the name says, right? They don't produce flowers to reproduce, but some do produce seeds and dust-like particles called spores. For example, as you can see in the picture right here, you have a fern, and also moss and pine trees are example of non-flowering plants. Now, how do our plants come about? Right, our plants that produce seeds, how do they come about? Now, plants grow through a process known as germination, right, which starts with a seed. Now, the seed remains dormant for a period of time until it gets the right condition to grow. And what are these conditions? They are water, sunlight, and good soil. So once the seed is planted and they receive all of these nice conditions, then germination will begin. All right, and we're going to watch a short video to see how most plants grow through germination.
Our topic for today is seed germination.
It's time to work. I know.
Aha!
I will get the seed.
The life of a plant begins from a tiny seed. The seed is protected by an outer covering called a seed coat. The seed contains a small baby plant called an embryo.
Let's sow the seed. Wait, I have some conditions.
Conditions required for the growth of a seed are moisture, warmth, nutrient-rich soil, sunlight, good quality seed. Once these conditions are satisfied, the seed begins to grow. The seed absorbs water from the soil. And provides moisture to the embryo. The plant cells inside the seed start duplicating. Enzymes get activated. Embryo starts getting nourishment. The first sign of growth is a tiny root which comes out of the seed.
Hey, I'm Mr. Root. Let us study the process of germination.
With more and more nourishment, the embryo starts growing.
sunlight. It's time for photosynthesis.
Eventually, the growing plant bursts open through the seed coat in search of sunlight. To start its own process of photosynthesis. Once the seed coat falls off, the root starts growing downwards to anchor the seed. And to search for more food and nutrients from the soil. Meanwhile, the shoot also starts growing upwards towards the light. Soon, we see a baby plant with tiny leaves. This process of the growth of a seed into a plant is called germination.
Aha!
All right, so we have learned what are plants and we have learned how seeded plants come about. Now we're going to look at the parts of a plant and their functions. All right, so plants consist of many parts with each having their own functions and roles in order to keep the plant healthy. Overall, there are 4 main parts of a plant along with their subparts. So let us find out what those are. Oops. All right, so we're gonna start with the leaf, right? So of course, right, the leaf is usually green, but there are times when we see leaves of different colors, right? And they are attached to the stem of the plant. It is considered the most important part of a plant, as this is where the plant makes food, as we said before, through the process of photosynthesis for the entire plant. All right, so now the leaf, it also contains chlorophyll. What is chlorophyll? Chlorophyll is a green pigment, so that's what gives the leaf the green color that you're seeing, right? And what it does is that it traps light energy that it receives from the sun, and it uses carbon dioxide, right, and water to produce glucose, which is pretty much the food for the plant. That's what it uses to continue to grow. So because of photosynthesis, what happens is that the end product also, you get oxygen. So oxygen is released from the plant through the leaf, and this goes into the atmosphere, right? And we as humans need oxygen. Also, the leaf prevent the loss of water vapor from the plants, and it helps the plant to breathe, right? So on the leaves of the plant, right, they have a cell called the stomata, right? It's a pore, so it controls the opening and the closing. So when the stomata opens, right, it allows water vapor to leave the plant. All right, so this is a diagram that is showing the process of photosynthesis. So here you have the sun, right, that gives off the light energy. Here you have your plant, right? So there's water in the soil and the root absorbs the water. The plant absorbs the carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. The chlorophyll in the plant traps the sunlight, right? And with all of those, the light energy, the carbon dioxide, and the water, they produce the sugar, right? Which is very important because this is what the plant uses to help it to grow, right? And then as you see, it releases the oxygen, which we use, right, to breathe. All right, so these are some other parts of the leaf. So you have the leaf apex or the tip, which is right here. And pretty much it explains itself. It is pretty much the pointed part of the leaf, the top part of your leaf, right? And then you have your leaf margin, right, which is around the leaf. So it's the boundary or the edge of the leaf. Right. And then you have the leaf base, which is, oops, oh, sorry, give me a second, guys. All right. So the base of the leaf is pretty much the bottom of the leaf. So it's the lower part of the leaf, and it's what connects to the petiole. Now the leaf blade or the lamina, that's pretty much the flat surface of the leaf, right? And that is where photosynthesis occurs. Now you have the main leaf vein or the midrib, which is that part right here in the middle of the leaf that is very easily seen, and it goes straight through the center of the leaf, right? And it also connects with the petiole. And then from the midrib, right, you have veins that are branching off. So these branches from the midrib, and they also transport water, minerals, and food to the plant. So as you can see, plants can be complex. They have their own system in order to survive. All right, so now we are moving to the stem. All right, now the stem is the structure above ground that supports the leaves, the fruits, and the flowers. Now, the stem also transports water and minerals that it receives from the root throughout the plant. With the stem, right, it raises the height of the plant as it grows upward, which allows the flower and leaves to be more exposed to sunlight, which is good, right, as this now would allow most of the leaves to be exposed to the sunlight in order for them to go through photosynthesis. Also, some stems, they may have thorns on them, which is a defense mechanism used to protect the plant from predators, right? So if the stem have these thorns, right, when animals that feed on plants come, that will deter them from feeding on the plants, right, because of the thorns, right? And we all well, I know what prick feels from a maca, so you can just probably have an idea of what an animal that is on plant may experience when they come up on plants that have thorns on their stems. Now, these are subparts of the stem. You have the node, the internode, and the petiole. Now, the node, right? These are points on the stem where the leaves and new branches grow from. So as you can see, there's one right here, and then you have another one right there. And then the internode now are the spaces between the nodes. So for example, you have a node right here with a petiole connecting to the stem and another petiole connecting to the stem. So therefore the space in between that is the internode. All right, and then you have the petiole, which is a thin stalk that extends from the stem. So it extends from the stem. So this is the stem and this is the petiole, right? And it connects the leaf to the stem. And sometimes persons call it a leaf stalk. So that's another name for the petiole. Now we are on to the roots. Now the roots of a plant, they grow underground, right? So while as we observed recently, the stem grows above ground and the leaves grow above ground. But the roots, they grow underground. And with the roots, it absorbs water and minerals from the soil, right? And not just that, but it helps to keep the plant stable, right? So it anchors the plant in the ground. Also, the root helps to hold the soil together. As you can see in the picture here, all those roots are helping to hold the soil together, right? So therefore, this prevents washing away of soil by wind or water. Also, some plants store food in their roots. All right, so more information on our roots. Now, you have different types of roots, right? But there are two major types of roots, and these are your fibrous roots and top roots, right? And you can see them in the picture over here. Now, your top root, it tends to have one major root that grows very, very deep below the soil. Right, as you can see right here in the center, that's the top root, and that's going to grow very deep beneath the soil. And then with the fibrous roots, now it doesn't necessarily have a top root. What it has, that it has many roots that grow in all different directions, as you can see right here. Now you have secondary roots and root hairs. So what we're using is the example of a top root, right? So this is the main roots, right? The top roots. And then from the top root now, you'll have secondary roots that grows from it, right? And also tend to call them lateral roots too. And on each root, you tend to have root hairs, right? And they tend to be found near the tip of each root, and they also absorb water and minerals from the soil. So it's a very large root system, and they all help with absorption of water and minerals that the plant needs in order to help grow. And now we're on to the flower, right? One of the most beautiful parts of the plant. Now, the flower is important also as it is the reproductive part of a plant, and it tends to be brightly colored, right? You tend to see flowers of all different colors, pink, red, purple, blue, you name it. But the flower also consists of a male and a female part, right? Both of which work together to fertilize the plant so it can produce seeds, right? Now, the seeds are the plant parts that will grow into new plants, as we saw from the video on seed germination. Now you have different parts of the flower, right? And these are the petal, the sepal, the stamen, and the pistil. Now we're going to start with the petal, right? Which is the brightly colored part that we tend to see, right? And it is located above the sepal. So this pink part that you're seeing, that's the petal. Now, one of the functions of the petal is to attract pollinators, right? For example, to attract the bee, the bird, right? Insects and animals that will come to help in the process of pollination. And the petal also protects the inner reproductive parts of the flowers. So as you see, it surrounds all of the inner reproductive part of the flower in here. And now we're going to move on to the sepal. Right, now the sepal is the outer part of a flower that is usually green. I mean, sometimes they're not green, but they're usually green. And it protects the flower in the bud stage, right, as it prevents it from drying. So if you should look to the picture right here, you'll see this little green thing right here. That's a bud that is protected by the sepal. And you can see when the flowers bloom and open, you see the sepal right underneath the purple flowers right here, which is the petal. Great. Now we're going to move on to the stamen, right? And the stamen is made up of two parts. Now the stamen though is the male reproductive part of the flower. And what you can use to help you to remember that is the fact that the last part is men. So stamen, men, since the men are male, so male reproductive parts of the flower. Now, its main function is to produce pollen, right? And to make it available to the pollinators to allow reproduction, right? Very important. So as I was saying, the stamen has two parts, right? It consists of the anthers and the filaments, right? You can see right here. Now the anther, right, which is mainly yellow in color, is what produce the pollen grains, and the pollen grains are stored right on the anther. Now you have the filament, right? This part right here, which is long and slender. And what it does is that it supports the anther on its tip. So the anther rests on top of the filament, right? And that's your male reproductive part. Now we're going to move on to the pistil, right? So I hope you guys are listening, because remember at the end, you have a interactive quiz activity, right? And some of these questions will be in it. So with the pistil now, right, this is the female reproductive part of the flower, and it is located in the center, right? All of this right here. And it is surrounded, of course, by the petals, right? The sepals, right? Your sepals, right? And your stamen, which is your anther and your filament. Now, it consists of the stigma, the style, and ovary. So those are the three parts that make up the pistil, right? And we're going to look at each of them. So we're going to start with the stigma. Now, the stigma is the topmost part, right? This top part right here is the topmost part of the ovary, right? And it's the area on which the pollen is received. So the pollen moves from the anther, right? And it goes on top of the stigma when our pollinators come, right? When our bees, when our butterflies, when our bugs, when our birds come, right? And so that's where the pollen is received. Now, the stigma is also has a sticky layer, which allows for the pollen to be attached, right? Which is important as it needs to be there for pollination. Now you have the style, which is this right here in the center that is below your stigma. So it's a thread-like nerve structure that connects the ovary, right, with the stigma. And also it forms a hollow tube called the pollen tube, right? So once the pollen goes on top of the stigma, right, the style creates a hollow tube right here, which allows the pollen grain to then now move down to enter into the ovary, right? And now we are at the ovary, and this is the base of the female portion of the flower, right? So all of this right here. Now within the ovary, you have your ovules, and your ovules, right, tends to have undeveloped seeds, right? Those are your ovules. And it's at this part that seed formation takes place. So once the pollen moves from the anther, goes on the stigma, travels down through the style into the ovary and goes into your ovules, you have the process of fertilization taking place, which will allow for seeds to be formed, right? All right. So now we're going to move on to the importance of plants. So after learning about what are plants, how plants come about, right? Learning about the different parts of a plant, right? Because plants are unique, they're very important. Now we're going to go through some of the importances, right, of plants. Number one, we're going to look at habitat, right? So pretty much plants provide home for other animals, right? And even for other plants to live, because you have plants that grow on plants, right? And for example, a rainforest that consists of numerous trees that provide home for a lot of animals, right? And insects, right? Because a single tree, as it says, may provide food and shelter for many species. So that's one importance of plants. Now, secondly, plants provide medicinal value, right? Some of the ingredients that we see in our pills or in our medicines that we take, right, actually are derived from plants, right? And also, even, us, sometimes we use different parts of the plant, right, to treat an illness, right? Everybody know about the ginger tea. When you tell me it's earthy, you make some ginger tea, right? So in our everyday life, we use different parts of the plants, right, to help to cure an illness, to ease an illness. So plants are very important as they do provide medicinal value. Now, number three, building. Plants provide us with building materials that humans use. And we can see this when we walk in our homes, we see furniture, right? Whether it's a bed, whether it's a table, a dresser. So persons use cedar, mahogany, all types of timber to use to build furniture. And also persons use wood to build homes, to build fences. So plants do provide building materials for us. Now, another importance of plants is in the soil quality, right? So plants help to maintain the soil quality. For example, this means that when a plant dies, right, they tend to decompose. And when they do that, they fertilize the soil, right? So they add nutrients to the soil. And when this happens, right, this allows other plants to grow and thrive, right? Which is important as we need, more plants to continue to grow so we can have more plants around us, as plants are very important. Number 5, they provide us with oxygen, right? And as I explained earlier, this is done through the process of photosynthesis. Can you imagine a life without plants? How would we get oxygen, right? So plants help to replenish the oxygen within the atmosphere, and that is very important as all living things depends on oxygen. Right, number 6, plants help with the water cycle, and we know how vital, how important water is, right? So how do plants do that though? Now, as we said earlier, right, plants release water vapor into the atmosphere, right, through their leaves, right, through the stomata. And what happened is that when they release this water vapor, which can be lost through transpiration, right, what happened is that you have a buildup of the water vapor, in the atmosphere. And then when that condenses, right, it returns to the earth in the form of rain, right? And as I said, water is very important. We need water to water our plants, to cook our food, to shower, to create a clean and healthy environment. So I know we see how very, very much important plants are and how we need to preserve and protect plants, right? And get into planting more plants around us. Number 7, plant help with clothing. Yes, plants provide us with many materials that we use for the clothes that we wear. For example, cotton. Almost on all of our clothes, if you look in the label, we see 100% cotton, 70% cotton, right? So plants help within the clothing industry to provide materials. Now, number 8, food. We all love food, some more than the other, right? So plants provide food for humans and animals, right? And plants provide the nutrients that we need, right, in order to remain healthy, in order for our body to function properly. We can get those nutrients from our plants, right? Whether it's in the form of fruits or vegetables. And number 9, plants help to beautify our environment, right? Make our landscape look lush and nice, you know, feel welcoming. So it helps to enhance the appearance of our properties, which is good. And number 10, climate. How does plants help with climate, right? We're in a time now where everyone's talking about climate change, right? We've heard about rising temperatures. We've heard about more disastrous storms, right? And plants are very important, right, in helping for the climate to remain stable. How do they do this? They help to decrease the effects of global warming, right? So remember, they absorb carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, and carbon dioxide is a greenhouse gas, right? And you have a lot of carbon dioxide within the atmosphere, right? It's going to trap a lot of the heat that we receive from the sun, right? And this is not good, right? So the more plants we have, they will absorb the carbon dioxide that they need in order to photosynthesize to create food, right? So that's another way in which plants help, right, with the climate. Number 11, let's go to number 12 as we had looked at number 11. So number 12, plants, with the food. Number 13, well-being. All right. Now, I don't know about you, but for me, if I feel stressed or I feel overwhelmed, sometimes I'll walk, right, around areas filled with plants will help to enhance my mood, right? So plants really do help to reduce stress and to enhance one's mood. Think about walking through the park and seeing all those beautiful flowers and seeing the birds going by and the butterflies, right? And this is also a form of therapy, right, that persons use. Right. So that's it for the presentation. Thanks for listening. I hope you learned a lot about plants, what are plants, the description of plants, and the importance of plants. And I hope from this you are charged to create your own garden, to plant a new plants, and to spread the word to encourage others to plant a plant.
All right, thank you so much, Miss Thomas. Let's just give a thumbs up or a clap just to show our appreciation of Miss Thomas at this time as she has done her presentation. And if you have learned anything new, you can type it in the chat as well, or you can put your thumbs up. If you're not sure where your thumbs up is, there's a reaction button at the bottom, and you can utilize it. Anybody learned anything new? Or anybody has any questions? Anybody here knew before that plants can be male or female, just like us? Hmm? Or who knew that plants had so many different important value to us, so many different things that they can do? Hmm? Right? So that's why we're celebrating plants today. All right. No questions, anybody? All right, while you think about your question, we want to invite you to join our quiz online. Ms. Thomas is going to share a link and invite as many persons to go on this link, and we're going to be doing a live quiz using the quizzes app. And so there's the link there's the link right now posted. So you can just click on it and you will enter in. So as many persons who can want to just invite persons to go in by just clicking on the link that's provided in the chats right now. All right, so far we have one person. Come on, guys. Want to see, it's a fun learning time. Let's see what we remember from the presentation just now. So we'll start when we have at least 3 persons on, and the rest of us can root them on. Mm-hmm. All right, in the meantime, while we are engaging persons in the quiz, you can follow along. We're going to be sharing our screen so that you can see the progress of the game. All right. All right, how many persons are on now? Persons on. Shamir is leaving the pack already. All right, go Elaine, go Najar. So far so good, Shamir is raising a hand. right, I see. It's a neck and neck between Eartha and Najir. Come on, Elaine. Let's see if we can pass these guys out. Part of the challenge of in this game is that you have redemption points as well. Alright. So there's a race to the finish. Let's see who will end up taking the prize home. Alright, one person has completed the race already. Elaine coming at the end. Let's see who will end up being second and all right, we see Nigeria is now on second place. All right, Elaine, let's see if you can answer some more questions and see how far you can go up on that leaderboard. Elaine, yes, Elaine. All right, Nigeria is coming closer to the end. Very close. Nigeria has ended the at the end of reach the finish line before the bell rings. All right, so we have a winner. So congratulations, Shamir. Second goes to Eartha and third Najir. Or sorry, second goes to Najir. So welcome and good job, everyone. All right. Wasn't that fun? I'm not hearing anybody. You can type in the chat. All right. If the experience was fun for Najir or Elaine or Shamir. All right, it was very fun. All right, thank you, Shamir. And congrats, everyone. Indeed. Are there any other questions? Or if you have any questions, we have botanists on the line. Any question about plants or any other question about why persons have chosen to take a career in botany? All right, Trisha says it's fun. Yes, Trisha. All right. Any burning question about plants that anybody wants to ask? All right. I'm gonna ask you guys one question before we go on to our closing video. All right. Who can type in the chat? What are the different parts of a plant that you have been introduced today? There were a number of different parts that were shared. Just type it in the chat. What are some of the different parts of the plant? Let me see. Persons are able to go in the chat, yes. Nobody don't remember any parts of the plant? All right, so Shamir says she remembers the roots, the stems, leaves, flowers. Any other parts are there? All right, sepal and pistil, very good, Trisha. I'm sure persons had lunch today. I wonder what part of the plant did you eat for lunch today? Who had chicken and chips? Or nuggets and fries? Can you spot the plant in the nuggets and fries? Who can tell me if I had a lunch and I had nuggets and fries with lettuce and tomato? Who can tell me the different part? Sorry, not the different parts, different plants that made up that meal? If you had nuggets and fries, lettuce and tomato. Still thinking? All right, here's my challenge. All right, I see somebody say potato. Very good, Trisha. Potatoes would make the fries. Right, very good. And of course, our salad, our tomato and lettuce. All right. So I want to challenge us as we go to look a little more closely at, the things that we interact with, the food that we eat, the things that we use, and to see where plants play a role in those things. There's some of the things we're eating that are plant-based, or maybe the chair that you're sitting on came from a tree. The clothes that you wear probably came from a plant. So I want us to become more aware of our plants. All right. So we're going to be closing off our time here this evening. And we want to tell everyone, thank you for spending this time with us. We thank persons who came from the various schools and communities. We want to thank persons who contributed in their participation today, answering questions, playing online. Thank you. We want to thank Ms. Tiona Thomas for that engaging presentation. We've learned so much about the plants and we are becoming so much more aware of its importance. Thanks also to Mrs. Tracy Comic, our director, who shared about her inspiration on why she studied plants. We want to also thank all those who have shared through whether being on admin or have helped in some way, our regular NHMJ family. Thank you for being here. And at this time, we're going to end with an appreciation video. I'm gonna share at this time as we continue to celebrate plants and their importance. All right. Thank you all for coming. Thank you all for being here with us. And at this time, we are going to say our bye-byes until next time. So you'll see us again next month on May the 13th, where we will be looking at our birds. All right. So thank you all.